Welcome back. You're watching Newslink. President Cyril Ramaphosa faces an uncertain future following the findings of the independent panel into the Phala Phala farm theft. The report indicates Ramaphosa may have a prima facie case to answer to. Now, many have called for him to resign since the report was released, and the ANC's National Executive Committee is expected to reconvene to discuss the issue. But what do South Africans think should happen next? Well, senior reporter Aviwe Mtila found out, and he joins me in studio right now to answer that question and more. So, Aviwe, one of the first things we need to talk about here, thank you, by the way, for joining us in studio, is the ANC resolving to unpack the matter as the NEC. What do we expect them to, how do we expect them to engage around it, and what kind of resolution do we expect from them?
Well, already we do know, colleague, that it was deferred to the National Working Committee of the African National Congress, and my suspicions are that is near finality, given that a media communique just came out about 5 minutes ago saying that the ANC is in fact holding an NEC meeting, a special NEC meeting tomorrow that will then discuss the Section 89 report in its entirety. Of course, we do know that the president wanted to resign, was successfully convinced by some of the senior members in the party to stay at the party ranks. We don't know what's going to happen now, but in fact, I have been having words, as you mentioned, with a number of people, including political analysts. Ngila seems to suggest that there could be two things at play if the president does indeed go ahead with the resignation. One would be trying to clean the presidency office of corruption, as we saw in the resignation of former President Jacob Zuma, where it was an attempt to clean that office. The other would be, well, I actually want to take a listen to Ngila as she delves on to why the president would resign.
I think that'd be very interesting to hear the thoughts around the political mind more than the presidency that we have now. And I say this because I think resignation, as I said, for the political party would be to remove corruption from the presidency again, and to remove that image of corruption from the presidency. And another thing I truly do see is that if President Cyril Ramaphosa would resign, it would be to regain his position in society and in the political party through the national conference.
Now, we do know from yesterday and senior leadership members of the ANC coming together and then quickly dispersing because the president wasn't there to answer around questions of Phala Phala. So it was highlighted that it's actually quite important that he be there because he knows what happened. Do you have an indication if he'll be at that special sitting tomorrow?
Well, we were reliably informed ahead of yesterday's meeting, in fact, that he wouldn't be there. One of the reasoning behind that was that he wanted it to be a clear and open discussion, given that if he was there in person, it would form some sort of intimidation. So we're not sure what will then happen tomorrow. Will he be there to maybe answer to that, or will he still pursue the view that he'd be intimidating the NEC structure, the top 80, of course, in between conferences, if his presence is there? So it's yet to be seen. I guess we'll find out at around 2 o'clock tomorrow.
What's also to be seen is what will unfold in Parliament on Tuesday. Proceedings around this matter set to take place. What are we expecting there, Aviwe?
Well, colleague, of course, the Parliament itself will be meeting to discuss the Section 89 report and a way forward. We can, of course, expect them to want those investigations to go where Parliamentary ad hoc committee set up that will actually delve into the Section 89 panel report itself. That could be a drawn-out process, but we're expecting a vote, of course, that would allow for that process to unfold. We do know the ANC holds a majority in Parliament, so we'll be expecting, as we heard from Aviwe Mtila from the Democratic Alliance, that they'd be trying to get people from the ANC themselves to meet that 50+1 that's needed in order for the inquiry to go ahead. But if they fail there, colleague, we did hear from Aviwe Mtila that in fact they will be looking to dissolve Parliament, not having a president sitting there with this dark cloud of these scathing investigations that have come out around him. So let's take a listen to Aviwe Mtila and what she had to say around if they're not successful in getting the inquiry to go ahead.
We have announced that we will be submitting a motion to dissolve Parliament in accordance to Section 50 of the South African Constitution. Because our view is that we cannot be in a situation where we have a president that is facing essentially impeachable charges, that continues to either be in office, or we cannot have a situation where South Africans are trapped between having to choose a president that is compromised in terms of his oath of office, or whoever else the ANC chooses to field as an acting president in the meantime. We think that it's time to take the power back to the people. This is why, in our view, the reason why Section 50 of the Constitution exists.
Aviwe Mtila, thank you very much for that insightful update, but also for inadvertently correcting me on Siviwe's surname, the pronunciation. Say it again.
Kwahube.
Kwahube.
Yeah.
Oh, I had butchered it earlier on. Thank you very much, Aviwe Mtila, following developments around the Phala Phala storm and what is set to unfold over the next few days.